A very good morning to one and all. With the blessings of His Holiness, Jagat Guru, Shri Shivratri, Deshi Kendra Mahaswamiji Garu, I welcome everyone to day 2 of Professional Excellence and Excel webinar series. I'm Dr. Dipasha Rao and I will be your host for today. I thank everyone for taking time and joining us. With the pandemic taking a toll on today's time, I hope everyone is doing well and keeping safe. During these tough times, our heart goes out to the frontline warriors who are facing the real battle. A silent prayer of longevity to all those souls who are working relentlessly day in and day out by risking their lives to save us. Our prayers are with them. Moving on, we have already witnessed a set of inspiring and knowledgeable seminars yesterday. We aim to do so today as well. I assure you that the lineup of today's program is going to be filled with resources and mind-boggling information. Day 2 of Professional Excellence series brings you a set of valuable speakers who have outshined themselves on various social platforms. They have excelled not only on professional grounds, but have proved themselves with distinction in various walks of life. They are an overall achiever and have taken time off their busy schedule to come share their valuable knowledge with us. In today's webinar, we will be touching upon topics which will help us grow as an individual on a personal as well as professional level, and in turn help serve the society a little better. In today's session, we aim to achieve knowledge and skills which will benefit us in our day-to-day activities. It gives me immense pleasure to host 4 motivational speakers and equally inspiring panelists for the day. We shall kickstart today's program with time management. Time management is one of the key factors to success in any field of work. In today's tough scenario, time plays a very crucial role as the matter of life and death is just a second away. From a personal front, being a postgraduate student and having to deal with a lot of work, I often find myself short of time. This now makes me realize how much I lack this skill. Having said this, I would like to introduce our very first speaker for the day who will be guiding us through this topic. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome our very own resource person, Dr. Chandrasekhar. Dr. Chandrasekhar is a very renowned and respected person who is currently holding the Vice Principal position in JSS Dental College and Hospital. Dr. Chandrasekhar BR is presently working as a professor and head of Department of Public Health Dentistry in JSS Dental College, Mysore. He is the chairman for the Board of PG Studies, JSS Academy of Higher Education and Research, Mysore. He is a member of IQAC team in JSS. Sir also plays a subcommittee member role for framing the PhD syllabus in JSS and a co-committee member for the same in the Indian Association of Public Health and Dentistry. He has won numerous awards for best paper presentation and research publications. One amongst his many achievements is the gold medal he was awarded with the title, the Mani Bhagya Lakshmi IAPHD Silver Jubilee Endowment Award for Faculty of Public Health Dentistry with the highest research output for the year 2018-2019. Needless to say, he's a man filled with wisdom and we are honored to have him with us. I welcome you, sir. Each session, thank you, sir. Each session will have a panel member to reflect the topic spoken. The panel member for this topic is Dr. Aruna G. Dr. Aruna is currently serving the position of Assistant Professor in the Department of Periodontology in JSS Dental College, Mysore. She graduated from KNE Society's Institute of Dental Science, Belgaum in the year 2005. She attained her postgraduate degree in the year 2009 from Government Dental College, Bangalore. She is currently pursuing PhD at JSS Academy of Higher Education and Research. With a little over of 12 years of teaching experience, ma'am has 13 publications on national and international platforms. I welcome Dr. Aruna to today's webinar. We shall now move on to the start of the session. I request Dr. Chandrasekhar to enlighten us on the topic of time management.
Thank you.
Over to you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Please confirm whether the screen is visible. Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, all. I'll be starting my presentation with the topic time management, and it keeps me tensed whether I'll be able to manage the time of 45 minutes within which I need to complete my presentation. So I'll start with a quote, like let everybody read. And when we read this and throughout this presentation, I request everybody, including myself, to introspect ourselves on what we have done in the last 6 months, what we want to do in the next 6 months, how we want to do, and how optimally we can utilize the available time to complete the task at hand. So with that I'll put this quote, and when we read it slowly, a wise person does at once what a fool does last. Both do the same thing, only at different times. So this clearly highlights the importance of time. Like a wise person as well as a fool does the same thing. But a person who is wise, who knows the importance of time, does it within the time frame within which the task needs to be completed. And that only will have the value, that only will get the reward, and that only will take us to success in our life. Everybody does, like time management, everybody knows. When the topic was assigned to me, even I was surprised. Every one of us, right? Any body existing on this earth definitely do time management in their routine daily life. Like even if you take a child or a student, they wake up at a particular time in the morning. They just complete all the activities of daily life, like bathing, then eating, then going to school, then coming back, watching television, listening to music, going out with friends, then going to sleep at a particular time after attending to all their academic work. So when everybody does time management on a daily life, why this topic is required to be presented here? That was the question which I had myself when the topic was assigned to me. So initially I thought like this is not my area because I've not done any such presentations in my past. So I thought if I try this, I'll also get to know where I'm going wrong, what are the flaws and inconsistencies in my own time management, which can help me in like enhancing my performance in a better way. So with that intention, I took this topic, and with this topic, I'm not presenting something very, very innovative or something very new. So that makes my job very easy. That's why I've framed the learning objectives in such a way that everybody should think about it. Like everybody should introspect and keep assessing themselves at each slide when I take something. And this applies to myself as well. So at the end of this session, as participants, including myself, we will be able to realize that whatever that is being presented in this session, we all know that. And you all know that what is being presented in this session, I'll make you realize that you all know this. Then at the end of this presentation, you will realize that some of what you already know, if not all, is not being fully put into practice. And at the end of this, I want you to like apply some of which what I'm presenting now into your daily life, and you assess yourself whether you will be able to perform better with a little bit of focus on time management in your daily life. And these are the learning objectives for this session. And to begin with, let us look into what is time and its management. See, time has certain characteristics. See, time is measured in units. Everyone gets the same amount of time each day. It is neither less nor more for any individual. Like in case if somebody says, I don't have the time to complete some assigned task within the time frame, it's like a myth, because everybody gets the same amount of time every day. Like it was 24 hours per day, even for Albert Einstein. It was 24 hours per day, even for Louis Pasteur. It was the same for Mother Teresa. It was same for the great and respected APJ Abdul Kalam sir also. So it is the same for me even today. So the total number of hours what we get in a day is same for every human being, irrespective of where you are, what you are, and what you want to do. So it all depends on how optimally you utilize the available time and succeed in your life. And the second important characteristic of time is that it flies. It goes very rapidly without waiting for anybody. See, 10 o'clock, 28th May 2021 will never come in our life again. So it keeps flying without waiting for anybody. But the good news is that you are the pilot of your time. You can optimally control the available time for your own benefit. if you can prioritize what you want to do and when you want to do, at what time you want to do. So we'll talk about the right thing to do at the right moment in the subsequent slides. So these are the things which I want to say about time. So everybody has the same time, same amount of hours or same number of hours per day, and everybody, it will not wait for anybody. You need to like pilot your activities in such a way that you will get the maximum out of the available time what you have in case if you want to succeed in life. So next, move on to time management skill. So when we talk about management or skill, when it is applied to time, it's very simple. It is the ability of an individual to bring about some end result with maximum certainty, with minimum outlay of energy and time. This definition was given by Guthrie in 1972. It very simply, it says like it's the skill of completing a task within the available time, or taking a task to its logical end, where you have maximum certainty that the task is completed within the available time frame and with minimum consumption of resources. When we talk about resources, we have the common resources in the form of 3 M's and 1 T: money, manpower, material, and the time. And time is very, very important in this context because the presentation is on time management. So it is the ability of an individual to perform an assigned task within the available time frame. This is what we call it as time management skill. And let's look into the rationale for time management in our daily life. Whether it is personal life or professional life, we need to have an appropriate time management. What happens in case if the time management is not done properly, and what are the benefits of optimum time management are summarized in this table. And there are so many innumerable probably benefits of optimum time management, but I've enumerated only a very few. Like in case if you are able to optimize your time properly, then it will have less stress and pressure on your personal as well as professional life. And people think like, suppose if I need to complete an assigned task within the time frame, I need to sacrifice so much of recreation. But probably that may not be the true. That may not be very true, because in case if you are able to complete your assigned task within the time frame, then you will get that self-contentment, like you will be more satisfied. You have that satisfaction of job accomplishment. After you accomplish the assigned task, if you start focusing on recreation, like watching a movie, going out with friends, or listening to music, then you will enjoy it fully. And if you're not like focusing on your task, and before that only if you want to recreate, even when you're recreating, somewhere in the corner of your mind, that like reminding task will be there in your mind, and you cannot enjoy fully also, even if you are spending time on recreation. So what I'm saying is, if you are able to optimally use the available time to complete the assigned task, after that, if you start thinking about recreation, then you will enjoy it to the maximum. You will get more time to enjoy. That's why I've written increased recreation. Suppose if you are optimally utilizing the available time, then if you are doing the optimum utilization of time, it makes a person become more systematic in life. He'll be more disciplined, and he will be more efficient in personal as well as professional front. And there will always be like a satisfaction of work accomplishment, and you will always succeed in life, whether it is personal or professional front. These are the well-known benefits of optimum time management. On the other side, in case if the time management is poorly done, it creates overwhelming stress and pressure. Suppose if you are not able to complete the assigned task within the time frame when others are doing it, it creates a lot of stress. Like that stress can spoil, stress has its own consequences, whether it is health, emotional, physical, it has its own consequences, whether it is related to health, whether it is related to personal or professional life, it has its own like adverse consequences. And lack of accomplishment at professional and personal friend life itself creates a lot of stress and pressure. And ultimately, I can say, like in case if you are not able to manage the time properly, it creates a lot of stress and pressure, which spoils both the professional as well as personal life. And in the slide beneath, I put the relationship between stress and poor time management. We say like stress management is one of the essential elements of like effective time management, and in the other way, appropriate time management is one of the fundamental tools for managing stress. They are they have a bi-directional relationship. Suppose if you are stressed when you are undertaking a task, you will not be able to concentrate, you will not be able to focus much on that. And that lack of concentration will definitely increase the amount of time that is required to complete the assigned task. And if you are not able to complete the assigned task within the time frame, it again creates a stress. So it's like a vicious cycle. Like stress creates results in poor time management, and poor time management in turn exaggerates the already existing stress. So by this, we can understand the importance or rationale of time management. It's very, very important in everybody's life, irrespective of your age, irrespective of what position you are in. And if you want to succeed in life, time management is one of the essential tools which all of us need to somehow manage in ourselves. Now let's move on to the time management methods. See, when you look into the literature, you have a lot of methods, a lot of steps in managing your appropriate time, but I've chosen some simple techniques which we can apply it in practice. See, these are the various 5 methods which I'm put in the form of a circle, and they are arranged in a sequence. So if you want to manage the time properly in any given day or within any time framework, these are the 5 fundamental things what we need to do ourselves. First, we have to evaluate ourselves. That means we have to introspect ourselves on what we are, what we want to do, and how we want to do, like that. Then next step is plan and organize. After you plan and organize your goals, objectives, and targets, then you have to work hard. Once you identified your priority at step 2, you need to work hard and be efficient in completing the assigned task within the time framework, irrespective of what challenges you get in between. So once you complete that, and if you get stuck in between during the process of completing the task, don't hesitate to seek support from your superiors, subordinates, or any experts in the field. Don't be an introvert at that stage. Then monitor and evaluate at the end of it whether you have completed or whether you have accomplished the assigned task within the time framework, how good you have achieved it. All these things can be done at the end. So these are the 5 fundamental steps. I'll elaborate on them in the subsequent slides. And when we are taking up any task or any project, we always have to anticipate some sort of intrusions and impediments which come in the form of some obstacles, hindrances. So we need to anticipate intrusions and try to overcome these intrusions as well as impediments. There are always solutions. There is nothing like a problem which doesn't have a solution. Only thing is we need to find out what solution can be put in place immediately to resolve that issue and move on with the assigned task. So let us move on and take each of these steps and methods individually and look into them. First step is evaluate yourself. Why I have put this is, suppose if I have some problem in the way, if I have some flaws or inconsistencies in my performance, and if my colleagues or somebody points it out and say like, you are not doing this properly, we have that tendency. It's a human tendency that we get offended. We get a feeling that somebody is imposing on us. That's why I'm saying the first thing in time management is evaluate yourself, introspect yourself. So when you introspect yourself, you'll be able to identify your strengths and weaknesses. You will be able to judge where you're going wrong and why did you go wrong, what you could have done better. Like with your own experience, you can identify your flaws and inconsistencies. And suppose if this identification is done by yourself, then it's always easy to accept the change when it is when it is determined by yourself rather than being told by somebody else, where we get offended. You need to identify your strengths and weaknesses. You need to identify the flaws and inconsistencies, where I'm going wrong, what can improve my performance in a much better way, and then get yourself determined and focused to achieve the given task. And this is what I put as a first step before you take up any task or project in time management. The first thing is to evaluate yourself, assess your strengths and weakness, be determined that I would like to achieve this task within the time frame, whatever may be the challenges that I come across in the way. So once you get focused on that, once you get yourself determined to achieve the task, the next step is to plan and organize yourself to achieve the task. So when you're planning, you need to be very meticulous in deciding your goals, objectives, and targets. See, in case if you don't plan to do something, if you don't plan in ahead, it's like planning to fail in whatever you're doing. So planning for whatever you do, even when I'm coming to college for a day, I need to have a plan on what are the tasks I need to complete for today and what are my priorities. So plan your goal. If you don't have a clear goal, if you don't have specific objectives, if you don't have the time bound targets, whatever you do will go in a haphazard manner, and you will be taken like a person who is not organized well to accomplish the task within the time frame. So it's very, very important to plan ahead and organize ourselves to achieve the goals, objectives. So when it comes to goal, let me say, like, I would frame a goal, like I would like to become a person recognized for research excellence in JSS Academy of Higher Education and Research by the end of 2022. This will be my goal. It's like a broad statement on what I would like to do by the end of 2022. So to achieve this goal, I'll state my objectives. When you're framing your objectives, we all know that the objectives have to be very smart. SMART means S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, A stands for achievable, R stands for realistic, and the T stands for time bound. So when I'll put my objectives in place to achieve that goal, I would like to become a person known for research excellence in JSS Academy of Higher Education and Research by the end of 2022. If this is my goal, my objectives will be to achieve this goal. I would like to submit at least 2 research projects to some external funding agencies by 2022 and get one of them sanctioned by 2022. I would like to have at least 6 publications in Scopus Indexed Journal as either the first or the corresponding author by 2022. So when I frame this, I have very specific objective, that is to submit my research projects as well as to have some research, 6 research publications in Scopus Index Journal. The statement is very, very specific. It is measurable because I've quantified what I want to do. Then it is achievable, definitely not something like not realistic or not achievable. It is achievable, it is realistic, and I have put a time frame for this. Whatever I would like to achieve, I would like to achieve by the end of 2022, that is before the 31st of December 2022. So when I put my objectives very clearly, using that SMART objectives, immediately I need to set my targets to achieve this. Targets are like, what do you want to do on a daily basis? What do you want to do on weekly basis? Or what do you want to do within a framework of month to achieve these specific objectives? So I'll say first week or now by the end of June, I would like to submit 2 papers which are already compiled to some journals. Then in the next 3 months, I'll compile the statistics. I'll write up the paper for 3 research projects which I've already completed. And in the next 2 months, I'll collect data for a research project for which I've already taken the ethical clearance. I'll compile those statistics, and by December 2021, I would like to put that also into one journal for publication. So I'll set the target, what I want to do. So when I specify these things, like your goal, objectives, and targets, it's always better to have a map with you. Like we most often we prepare Gantt chart whenever we submit our research project. It clearly specifies, it's like a map. What you want to do first, and by what time you would like to achieve this. After that, what do you want to do? So it gives a sequence of activities in the order of priority within a time frame, within what time you would like to do. So unless you have a plan in place with specific objectives and targets, you will go in a haphazard direction. So it's very important to plan and organize ourselves with clear goals, objectives, and targets whenever you take any job, whenever you take any assigned project, or even in our daily life. Then next step, after you plan, organize, when you have clear goals and specific objectives and targets defined, the next step in time management is to work hard and be efficient. Aim at completion of the work within the time frames that you have set yourself. So you need every target, what you have written, you have put a time frame for that. So achieve the target within the time frame, whatever may be the challenges that come in the way. You should not go you should not step back. Once you have determined that I would like to complete this task within the time frame, whatever the challenges that come, in the first step, if you have planned the clear goals, objectives, and targets, you need to complete. You need to work hard. You need to be very, very dedicated for that. In this, you need to sacrifice so many of your comforts. And this is what is the proper time management. Many people spend their time in pleasurable activities. Probably when you're assigned a task, you may be missing out on so many of those pleasurable activities which your friends or family members may be enjoying. So you need to be determined. You need to focus on this because this is the task at hand for which you are committed yourself. So you need to work hard, put an extra effort there to complete the task. Whatever the challenges that come in the way, you need to solve those and take those challenges as opportunities, convert them and go along. So this is the third thing what you need to do. After that, like whenever we are assigned with any task, it's obvious that we get stuck somewhere because we will not be able to take a proper decision. So we are worried whether if I take this decision, what will happen with that. So that uncertainty will get you stuck somewhere in between. So at that stage, do not be an introvert. Like seek support from or seek advice from anybody. It may be from your subordinates, it may be from your colleagues, it may be from superiors. Let us leave ego at that point of time. It's like I have a task at hand, irrespective of whom I speak. My job is to complete the assigned tasks within the time frame. So this should be your like aim at that time. So if you like waste your time whether to ask or not to ask, that also is not advisable. And many of us will have problems here. We will not go and seek support immediately. So it's very important that we seek support. Like ultimately, a team effort is always much appreciated and will give much better results than like taking or seeing the result when you're doing it alone. So inputs from others, views from others also will be very, very important. As our vice chancellor always keeps saying, like if you are going for a teamwork, you always have to have one adversary, one person who always criticizes, because he should be appreciated because he is the one who is guiding you in the right direction. He is correcting you at every step. We should appreciate, but it goes the other way. When somebody points out at your weakness, we feel offended and we stop talking to them from next moment. So that should not happen. If you want to succeed in life, we always have to take the inputs, whoever is giving it. Like it may be from a student, it may be from an attender, it may be from somebody. If it's working out for me, I should take it and proceed. And this is the next thing what we need to do. And when you have put the things in place, you just have to monitor on a daily basis. I have set this target for this month. Is it achieved? How far I have achieved? So when you have that plan or Gantt chart in front of you, it's like a map. It helps you in where you are at present, where you want to go, how much you have already achieved, how much more you need to achieve, and how much more effort you need to put in. So when we monitor on a daily basis, it's very easy to manage the time and complete the assigned task within the time frame. And when it comes to evaluation, we have two terms like effectiveness. Effectiveness is doing the right thing at the right time, and efficiency is doing the things in a right way. So we'll talk about effectiveness and efficiency in the subsequent slide. And I told whenever we take up any task, there will always be some intrusions in the form of impediments, obstacles, barriers, or whatever. Intrusions can be minor intrusions or major intrusions. Minor intrusion is like you have an assigned task. Let us imagine like I have a task of submitting a research project to DBT and I have only two days time. Tomorrow by midnight, I need to submit the project, and I've always wasted my time all these days. I'm sitting in the last 2 days to work. Like you are almost completing your task, all of a sudden your doorbell rings and you have a friend or a relative stepping into your house and they say they are giving a surprise visit and they would like to have a dinner with you. So this is like a minor intrusion. You can't do anything. You just have to accept it and go along. And in the same way, you will get a lot of phone calls, interruptions from others when you're taking this. All this, we call it as minor intrusions or impediments in our daily life. And if you want to avoid such things, it's always better to ask your friends and relatives to give you a call before they come, because if you have the anticipation that they will be coming at so and so time, you can accommodate, you can plan yourself on how to accommodate and go ahead. And once such minor intrusions happen, it happens to everybody. Like try to resume your work as soon as possible on the same day and complete the assigned task on the same day. See, it applies to most of us. Like when we are doing dissertation evaluation of our students, most of them give it in the last 1 week or when we have only 2 days time to final corrections. So there we need to focus and concentrate. Many times I'll put my leave. I'll not even come to college. I'll sit at home. I'll complete the task because I need this to be completed within the time frame. And many times I'll get up at probably 2 o'clock in the midnight and do that work for about 3 to 4 hours when I don't have any disturbance. Nobody calls you up at around 2 o'clock in the midnight, or probably 1 o'clock in the midnight. That is the time where you can put in your maximum effort without any interruptions. This is how we can practically manage the minor intrusions. Major intrusions will be in the form of like vehicular accidents, unexpected hospitalization, or unexpected family issues. See, these things you cannot avoid. These are not in your control. So obviously, when we have a major intrusion like this, you will not be able to resume work on the same day. So you keep calm, attend that intrusion, and then get back to the task whenever it is feasible. See, sometimes when a family member is hospitalized, we need to attend the meetings and we keep attending. That will not allow me to focus completely on what I need to do there in my professional life, because it always, my mind will be there in my issues or a major intrusion. So complete that intrusion. After that, even when you're attending your intrusion, you're in one corner of the mind, it will always be working on what you need to do. So once that intrusion is attended completely, it will definitely like help you to focus better when you come back to the task. And this is how I've given a simple tips to tackle the minor and major intrusions. This come in the way of everybody's life in every aspect of whatever you are doing. We need to tackle them like in a, what do you call, in a tricky manner, which will not like affect anybody. Then procrastination is another thing what we need to look out when we are dealing with time management. Procrastination is nothing but putting off things or delaying things or postponing things. So it happens in everybody's life. Nobody is so perfect that they would not like to procrastinate. Some of the major reasons for procrastination I've summarized here, and I summarized the tip also for that. See, when we procrastinate things, one of the main reasons why we do that is we find the job unpleasant. When some task is given to you, we always feel as if somebody is imposing on you to do that, whether you like it or you don't like it. When you take that in a positive state, you always enjoy it. You take it as a pleasant job, no problem. When you take it like somebody is imposing on you, it's like you find the job unpleasant. You find the task unpleasant. So the best way to deal with this is like consider the reward or the pay what you get after completing your unpleasant job at hand. Whatever the pay I rewarded at the end of accomplishment of that job is bit huge. I need that. So that is the way you can counter the procrastination issue that arises out of the job being unpleasant. Whether you like it or you don't like it, if the organization is willing to have it, you do that because it gives you the reward and pay what you're anticipating. And not being organized is the other reason why people procrastinate. If you don't have a clear goal, if you don't have specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound targets or objectives, you always do your task in a haphazard manner. Like when you don't have things in an order to do, like when you're not organized yourself on what you want to do first and what you want to do next. If you don't have, if you take too many things at one hand, and if you put your nose or put your stake into everything, whatever you are expected to do, like as an administrator, then you'll never be organized. So you need to plan what you need to do, set up your targets, prioritize them, and go in the order of priority. So if you are organized on what we want to do, then most of the procrastinations will get resolved itself. Then huge or overwhelming task. The moment we think like you need to submit a project within 10 days to an external funding agency like DBT, we think like it is too much to do within that short frame of time. Let us not look into the overall task. It always looks overwhelming when we look into the entire piece of task, what you need to do at the end. So divide that into smaller pieces and carry out in smaller pieces each day by setting a time frame. And definitely you will be able to achieve much better than what you thought about at the beginning when you divide a larger task into smaller pieces, and that is how we can deal with it. Trying to be a perfectionist and difficulty in decision making both have the same solution. Like if you want to be a perfectionist in everything what you do, you will give a lot of like attention to like every detail of what you're doing. So you cannot become a perfectionist in every aspect. There will always be a fear that what in case if I go wrong. So this fear of going wrong somewhere will make you perfectionist, and this will postpone or delay things what you need to complete within the available time. So if you have difficulty in decision making also, a simple solution is to consult your colleagues, superiors, or take inputs from experts and move on. Don't waste your time there. And other than this, there are other reasons: waiting for the right mood, waiting for the right time. Then probably like you can say like lack of estimation of the time required. Like we always underestimate the amount of time required to complete a task. We say it can be done in 2 days only. I'll do it in the last 2 days. Then a lack of attention on or underestimating the difficulty that is there in the task involved. So all these are the reasons for procrastination or postponement. And if we procrastinate things, it will have a huge adverse consequence later. Like in case if you have a project submission and you have planned for a movie to be watched in the evening, all of a sudden you get a call for a meeting and you attend that meeting by postponing your pleasurable activity like watching a movie. I'll not call this as procrastination. You have postponed your pleasurable activity because you want to take up something which is important from your own perspective and from the perspective of the organization. We will not call that postponement of watching a movie as procrastination. We in fact call that as good quality time management, because you have shifted your focus on what is important and you have procrastinated what is not so important at that point of time. Then next is, like, let us look into this Pareto's law. Pareto's law says it's like a 80-20 rule. 80% of the reward what we get comes from 20% of our effort only. So it's very important for us to identify the 20% of the effort and prioritize it, which is getting me the maximum reward out of whatever I am doing. So once you identify your priorities, start working on that within the time frame and achieve the targets like within the time frame. This is how the time management can be optimally done. And you always have to flag the items which are having a deadline, which are so important. And here we need to decide on what is important and what is urgent. So let us look into what actually makes us think important and what is urgent and how to deal with that grading system. Like let us look into that important, urgent grid here. Something, if you need to identify something as important, you need to weigh the benefits of completing the task within the time against the loss if it is not completed in time. So if the benefit of completing an assigned task is very high and loss to the organization is very high in case if the task is not completed, it's definitely an important task which needs to be taken up. And if the benefit is low and if the loss is also low, and there also it's up to you whether you take it as important. So urgent is something like it relates to the length of time before which the task needs to be completed. And this is the great grid, important urgent grid, which we can use to identify our priorities. If you think something is very important in your own perspective and in the perspective of organization, and you have a deadline which is urgent, so something important and urgent should be your topmost priority. That's why it comes as A. If something is important, not so urgent, like something is important but doesn't have a immediate deadline, not very urgent, it comes your second priority. Then something not important but urgent will be your third priority. Something not important as well as not urgent can be your fourth priority. This is how we fix the priorities once we find something as important or urgent. And one bottom line statement here is priorities are not static. They need to be reassessed very, very frequently. What is a priority today may not become a priority tomorrow when I take up this task. So you need to keep assessing what is your priority from your own perspective as well as from the perspective of the organization. Keep changing. And this simple grid will help you in identifying what tasks and how to prioritize the many tasks what you have at hand for each day. And there are some myths and facts about time management. I'll not take much time into this. Like in case if I'm overshooting my time immediately, Dr. Aruna remind me, I'll wind up wherever I am. Like the myth is my life is completely controlled by external events. This is definitely a myth. You can control many aspects of your life and you are responsible. You are solely responsible for initiating that control. That's why I told time flies, but you are the pilot of your time. You need to be very smart enough to control your life properly. Identify what is in your control, what is not in your control when you have a task at hand. Don't think about things which are not under your control. Just focus on and doing things which are under absolute control of yours. Try to complete that within the time frame and with all possible efforts despite the external demands. Whatever may be the challenges, whatever may be the impediments, obstacles from others. Some people desperately try it, but don't focus on that. Your aim is to complete the assigned task. You or whatever that is there in your control, complete that, you will definitely succeed in whatever you are doing. I should meet everybody's expectation. Definitely not possible, especially as an administrator. You need to have the organization goals also. You need to hear from your subordinates. So you need to go against the expectations of somebody. So while desperately trying to meet the demands and expectations of everyone around you, do not change yourself and your needs. You need to be very clear about what the organization goals are, what are the expectations of the organization, what are your expectations. Be clear and first become clear about what your needs are and what the organization needs are. Then consider what you can expect from others. There'll be some distractors, people who are lazy. If you are focused on doing research, some people, your own colleagues or your own subordinates may pull you down, or they may distract you by talking to you. So definitely you need to be very clear about whose expectations you need to fulfill and whose expectations you should like ignore. Then I should have no limits. This is definitely a myth. Everything, everyone has certain limits within which we need to work. Failure to acknowledge this, that I have a limitation to work with, will make you a perfectionist. And the moment you think like you are trying to become a perfectionist, it will definitely push you to procrastinate things, because you'll start putting like attention to every minute detail of what you're trying to do. So these are some of the myths and facts which I've summarized. If you have any questions about it, you can ask at the end. And in time management, the question that comes is, should I be proactive or reactive? Proactive is like anticipating things, planning ahead, like after you anticipate things, forecast the impediments and overcome these impediments and take action before some failure occurs. This is like being proactive. Don't wait for things to happen, you make things happen. Then reactive means we wait for the things to happen, and once the failure occurs, we try to manage that failure. And it is like crisis management, like firefighting. This actually takes more time than being proactive. If you are proactive, you can prevent the failure, and you will spend less time in preventing the failure because you have anticipated all the like impediments, and you have found a solution and accomplished the task. And if you try to be reactive, it requires much time to avoid the consequences. And despite all your possible efforts, at the time when you react, it may not be so worthwhile to react. It will definitely have its own adverse consequences. So the bottom line statement is always try to be proactive than reactive. One small example is when the students get prepared for the exam, they just need to spend about 3 or 4 hours of quality time preparing for the exams. Like probably 30 days before the exams, if they spend about 2 to 3 hours, like focusing on what they need to achieve, what they need to read in each subject, they'll definitely, it's very easy to get through in the current circumstances. It's very difficult to get failed. But even in case if some students fail, like they'll start reacting after they see the result. They'll start identifying or looking for whom to blame. Should I blame the teacher? Should I blame like online coaching, which was not so effective? Should I blame the internet connectivity? They'll always try to find some reasons to like justify their failure. That is like being reactive, rather than like thinking so much after you saw the result and after you failed. You always could have done better being proactive. That's why I say like the time what is spent now will not come back in your life. This is the way we should think. 28th of May 2021 will never come in my life again. So what you need to do, you need to do right now. And what you need to do, you need to be proactive in doing things rather than being reactive after you see the failure. And in the end, I'll just show this diagram. I'll tell you one story. Ivy Ledbetter Lee, like he just visited a small steel manufacturing industry in the early 1900s. And he told the owner of that small steel industry that he will teach the owner as well as his employees something which they can apply in practice, so that their productivity will increase substantially. The owner of the steel manufacturing company simply told that we know about time management, but we are not practically able to apply this tips of time management properly. So suppose if you are able to teach me how to apply the time management tips into my work, I'll definitely be willing to pay for you. So Lee agreed for this, and he told like he needs to pay about $25,000. Suppose if he's able to put that into practice and if he succeeds in applying what he is telling. And even the owner of the company also agreed. Then Lee told, I'll teach you what you need to do in just a span of half an hour. And even the owner got surprised. Then Lee told him, get a piece of paper and write whatever the 6 tasks you want to do it tomorrow. You just write the 6 most important tasks which you need to complete tomorrow. He took about 10 minutes. He wrote, like though he's not willing to do that, he just wrote 6 tasks. Then Lee told him, put all these 6 tasks in an order. What do you want to do? So he put that, it took another 5 minutes. Then he told, like, tomorrow when you get up, start focusing on the first item. Let us look into this flow diagram. So he told, look into the item number 1, which you have put as a topmost priority. So concentrate on that. Keep doing that work till it is completed. There are only 2 possibilities. You can either complete, or you may get stuck somewhere due to some impediment or intrusion or a block. The block may be because you need the inputs from somebody else. Don't get stuck there and keep waiting. So if you get a block there, stop working on item number 1, immediately progress to item number 2, and keep working on item number 2 till it is finished. So if it is not finished, again, you have 2 things here. Either the item number 2 gets finished, or you will get a block in item number 2 also. So if you get a block in item number 2, that time you think about what blocked in item number 1. If the barrier of item number 1 is resolved by that time, go back to item number 1 and complete it. Then come back to your item number 2 and see whether the block that was there in item number 2 is resolved by that time or not. If it is still not resolved, move into item number 3, keep doing that till it is complete. If you get a block in item number 3, then again, see whether the barriers what you had in item number 1 or 2 are resolved. If any of these are resolved, go back, complete them and come back. Then focus on item number 3 and so on till all the 6 tasks are completed. Suppose if you get something which is like a major intrusion where you are not able to do anything for that day, stop. At least by this time, you would have completed the top 3 or 4 priority jobs which you need to complete for that day. If you put this into practice on a daily basis, he said, like, your productivity will increase substantially. So the diagram looks very simple. The owner of that steel company put that into practice, and within a span of few years, that steel company became one of the renowned or largest producer of steel in the world. It is none other than Bethlehem Steel Industry, and the owner of that is Charles Schwab. He became one of the richest men in world within a span of few years, and he spent a check of $25,000 to Ivy League within a span of few months because he realized that there was 25% increase in the productivity, or 4 times, not 25%, it is 400 times. 4 times increase in the productivity after he applied this simple flow diagram. It looks very simple because it tells you to prioritize your things. Your goals are divided into objectives. Objectives are divided into targets for each day, and targets on each day are put in an order which needs to be accomplished in the order of priority. So to conclude, I will say time management is the number 1 tool for stress management. Stress management is an essential component of effective time management. If you don't manage stress, it creates, like, it comes into your time management, and this in turn creates a lot of stress. Doing the right thing is called as effectiveness. Identifying the priority and completing it is called as effectiveness. This is more important than doing things right. That is efficiency. If you are able to accomplish a task within the available resources, within the time, we say it is efficiency. So first focus on being effective, what you need to do, what is the right thing to do, and then concentrate on efficiency, doing it right. And this is the simple way of succeeding in life. We are all familiar with all this, what I presented till now. Let's try to apply a bit of what we know about time management into our life. Probably that can take us to the success. Then this is some activity which I'm putting it for all of us, including myself. Let us introspect and identify our strengths and weaknesses. Identify what could be done to convert our weaknesses into strengths in the next 6 months. List what we would like to do in the order of priority over the next 6 months. Let us have clear goals, smart objectives, and time-bound targets. Identify 5 major time wasters over the last 6 months in your life. Let us try to be honest, whether it is your friend, a close colleague, or whoever. Identify the time waster in your routine daily life and try to avoid these time wasters. Work hard to accomplish your goal despite all intrusions and challenges. And this is how we can optimally manage our time. So within the time frame what I have, I tried my best to complete whatever the little I know. And thank you all for your patient listening. If you have any questions, let Dr. Aruna reflect on what I presented. Thank you. I'll stop sharing if you would like to share, Dr. Aruna.
Yes, sir. We've all learned how to better handle our time skills and be more productive through the day. Thank you, sir. I would like to call upon our panel member, Dr. Aruna, to reflect her thoughts on the topic. After your talk, ma'am, I request you to take up the question answers for the session.
Thank you so much. Good morning, all. It's been such constructive sessions from yesterday, and the start of today was no different. Our own Dr. Chandrasekhar sir has given an excellent presentation on time management. And this topic is just not relevant for students, but it can be related to many of us in the class, be it the homemakers, be it the working professionals, or the retired elders. This topic is very much relevant. John F. Kennedy said, use your time as a tool, but not as a couch. This is because time is not a luxury. It is so common that we get to hear that I'm a very busy person. If you are busy, so are the ants. But the real question is, what are we busy at? And when we try to kindle these thoughts, Dr. Chandrasekhar today has tried to answer many of them. He has covered his topic as talking about the rationale of time management, benefits, and the adverse events. Procrastination. Procrastination is one particular topic where all of us tend to postpone things for tomorrow or for the next day. And then from now, whenever we get to procrastinate things, we need to think about the Pareto's law, what he told. 20% is your effort and 80% is the reward, what you get from that 20%. And much more he has covered so much in detail. And I'm sure that it has benefited all of us on this platform. I would like to thank him and conclude by saying, in these critical times, it is just not important for us to travel, but it is to travel with each one of us in dignity and sanctity. Life is just a journey, but it is not a race. And this is possible only by conscious reframing of time and mind. We all can go a very long way. And I would like to thank everyone for giving this opportunity. And thank you, Chandrasekhar sir, for this constructive talk. Thank you so much. And I see no questions here. I see no questions either in the chat box. I see no questions. So if there's anything to be told, I think the moderator can take the lead.
Because everybody knows about time management, it's only what they know I have just summarized. So probably no questions. And the pressure of completing the task within the time frame has made me be a bit fast and communicate certain things very fast. If somebody has any questions, you are free to ask in the next probably 5 minutes.
I see no questions here in the question box.
Yeah.
No,
so there are two things. Participant might not have understood anything, or they think like they know most of what I presented, and that was my learning objective, just to make them realize that they know what I'm presenting. That's it. So
there is one question by Harshita.
Yeah.
She says, good morning, everyone. What do you think about the concept of focus on one thing at a time?
See, this is what everybody do. This is what I said, prioritize. See, when you have multitasking, it's not possible to focus on only one thing at a time. So you will be having a lot of other things at place, a lot of things to do. Like you need to get prepared for your exam. You need to get prepared for Viva. Especially, I'm talking from the perspective of a final BDS students. Let us take that. They need to get prepared for probably 8 subjects. And if I take my own experience, morning I was taking theory of one subject, afternoon I was giving Viva in some other subject. It makes you multitasking. So you need to prioritize at the time. What are your different tasks for the day? Which is the topmost priority? Put them in an order. First, focus on one priority at a time. The topmost priority is your first focus. Take that. So your question also fits in. Take one aspect at a time, because you have prioritized so many things what you need to complete the next day. Topmost priority, which is important as well as urgent. So keep doing that till it is over. So that holds good. One task at a time. Complete that, then look into the second priority. Focus on that till it is over. Don't move on to the other thing till you get a block. So this is my answer. See, everybody will have multiple tasks at hand. It is not possible to have only one task at any point of time in our life. When you are multitask, identifying the priorities is most important. Once you have identified the priorities, keep focusing, take one priority at a time and do it. I think I have answered your question. Your suggestion that taking one at a time is also correct. you need to take the priority. So why does time feel short while writing exam, but too long when waiting for a good thing to happen? So why does time feel short when writing an exam? Because you know so many things. See, when you take up your master's exam, 3 hours is definitely not sufficient. See, when I take it, even if they give 24 hours for me, I'll be continuously writing without even taking my pen off the paper. That is not what is required. Within the time frame of 3 hours, how much more you know, how you are able to present, which is very, very important. That's your skill. So you need to, that is what is called as appropriate time management. What you need to put in that answer script, you need to be very, very specific to the answer, and you need to answer the facts which fetches you the maximum marks. And this is what we'll be telling the students. Put the headings properly, put the subheadings properly, put them in an order. The way you present your answer make a lot of difference rather than what you have written inside the answer. So quality of presentation becomes very, very important in such things. And definitely 3 hours is sufficient time to showcase what you know and how good you are in showcasing what all you know within that time span of 3 hours is a challenge. And that is the skill what we are assessing in the exam. So don't think like you don't have sufficient time. You definitely have sufficient time. You need to adjust your time to answer the best possible of what you know within the time frame. What if we have more than one priority and it's urgent? So this is what I told. You need to prioritize. You need to have that important urgent grid among them, which is having the maximum benefit and which is having the shortest deadline that you should take as a priority, and put the next one into the second priority, because it gives you some time to think. So whatever it is having the deadline, that you should prioritize if you think both are important. We need to see there is no way of coping with this. When we take this is important and I need to do it, it's like determination. When you're committed, definitely you need to put in some extra effort. You need to spend about 3-4 hours extra. Spend probably 3-4 hours of extra, and spend 3-4 days of sleepless nights. Definitely it will get you the reward. That's why I told 20% of this effort, which is very, very important, what you're putting in, that fetches you the 80% reward what you anticipate. Think about the reward what you get after completing your challenging task. Try to take it. See, when the challenges are posed to anybody, including me, we try to hesitate. But a person who wants to succeed in life, he always waits for such challenges to come. If you're able to take the challenge and take it in a positive manner and convert that as an opportunity, definitely your superiors will be looking at you, how you are able to perform in a challenging situation. So definitely, if you are dedicated, if you're focused, you will not see any challenge as a challenge. You will take that as an opportunity and keep moving.
And sir, Dr. Vinuta has this to say, sir, during this lockdown, many things have taken an upper hand, and then what's important gets left out. Is it priorities here? And somehow it does not work at times.
I didn't get specifically. If Dr. Vinuta is online, let her ask. So during this lockdown, many things have taken an upper hand, and then what's important gets left out.
Left out.
Yeah. Is Dr. Vinuta here? Is she able to speak? Best, but realize.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Yeah. Tell me, Vinuta, put across your points.
What really happens is it's supposed to be vacation kind of, but there's just so many other things to do. And what really happens is the important things get left out. A part of it gets completed, but some part of it, somehow it doesn't get fulfilled. All of them can't get completed. See, I mean, I can't get to certain things, but there are certain things that get left out. Whatever you do at the end of the day.
See, this lockdown is like a major intrusion. It's not in your control. You just have to focus on what is in your control and try your best to do what you can do with all best possible efforts.
It's a good opportunity to do something productive.
See, lockdown, this situation or pandemic situation is not in our control. We cannot do anything to change the system or do anything. So this is what I am saying. This is like a major intrusion. So when you have a major intrusion like this, you don't have any control on it. You just have to do what best you can do, which is under your control, and resume to these things which are blocked during this lockdown period and start working on them the moment the lockdown gets removed. This is what is the best answer what I am thinking from my perspective. And
Yes,
probably,
yes, I just that I have to put it to application. Thank you so much.
yeah.
And sir, Dr. Suman says at times we want to make it best, but realize we are not completing it in time. How to tackle this?
This is what I told, like it's time is in your control only. Let us introspect ourselves. Like when we come to college, we have 6 hours in a day. How much time do we spend focusing on the academic front, or professional front, clinical front? And in case if we are spending probably 1 hour, 2 hour on pleasurable activities, like talking to friends and other things, let us sacrifice that and start focusing. See, we should anticipate this deadline will definitely, you will know the deadline, you know that this is important. So we need to put our best possible efforts. Despite your best possible efforts, there are certain things which are not under your control. So when you do that, when you complete the assigned task, don't try to be a perfectionist in everything. It's not possible. Try to do whatever the best you can do and put it across. And seek input from seniors or from experts, from your subordinates. Do your best, and people will definitely be able to realize and recognize your best efforts. And they'll also be knowing what are the limitations. When some I'll tell you very frankly, when Pro Chancellor gives us tasks, he knows like certain things are very, very challenging, certain things are not at all attainable, or things like that. And even we get surprised when the tasks are given. It's not that whether it's possible or not. We need to go in that direction. When we go in that direction, even if we achieve 80% of that, we have completed our task according to his expectation. So that is how we should take. It's not like everything what we do will come out like a best possible outcome. So even if it is like a better outcome or a good outcome also, it is definitely acceptable. This is what I will say from my perspective, because everybody are professionals here. Everybody will have their different opinion. I'm not an expert to comment on such things. Whatever the best I can say from my own perspective, I'm just putting it across honestly.
Thank you, sir. Actually, so can we accommodate both being effective and efficient in our tasks? What's more important that you're effective than efficient?
Ma'am, that's what I'm saying. First, we always have to be effective. We need to complete the task, whatever that is assigned. So when we are 100% sure that I'm completing the assigned task, then we should think about efficiency, how much I can reduce the resources within, in case if there is a time frame where you are able to complete the task probably in 10 days, just check, can I do it in 5 days and save that additional 5 probably days. If I'm spending a lot of money on some project, is there any possible way where I can cut down the cost? So efficiency is how good you are able to achieve the end result with minimum consumption of your resources in the form of money, manpower, material, time. So the first thing out of these two is effectiveness. Effectiveness is you should achieve the task first. That is your priority. So when you're 100% sure that I'll be able to do so, then concentrate on converting this effectiveness into efficiency by minimizing the resources that are required for achieving this effectiveness. So I'll say that is what is given in the literature. Effectiveness is more important than looking for efficiency right from beginning. First, it is effectiveness, then efficiency. Identify what is the right thing to do, and doing it right is your efficiency.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, ma'am. We apologize if we have left any questions unanswered, but since we're running short of time, for further queries, we request you to mail it. Thank you, sir and ma'am, for your valuable time. We would now be presenting a token of appreciation to Dr. Chandrasekhar.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We now call upon Dr. Aruna to accept her certificate of appreciation.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. Time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you can spend it. On this note, we conclude today's session. Dr. Chanchula.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Dr. Aruna. Well, time and tide wait for none, as all of us know. Today, effective time management skills have been delivered meticulously in this session. Congratulations, sir. On behalf of the organizing team, we extend our sincere gratitude for having been with us, part of this webinar series. Thank you once again, Dr. Chandrasekhar Vyar and Dr. Aruna.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Chanchal.
you.